What is good, y'all? Welcome to a very special episode, a very rare episode of The Puncher's Point. Now, you might be asking, why is this episode so special? Why is it so rare? Well, we are doing a 2024 Paris Olympics boxing recap. Now, the reason why it's so rare is because the Summer Olympics happen once every 4 years, which means you guys are not going to be getting an Olympic recap video for another 4 years. Who knows what could happen in 4 years, Breezy? We could be on Fox Sports, ESPN, we could be on we could be one of the biggest podcasts out there. Who knows what could happen in 4 years, man? Obviously, I don't want to look that far down the road. We got bigger and better things to talk about. But what I will say is this: these Olympics, regardless of how you look at them, I think they're going to go down to history books, whether it's good or bad. There's been a lot of things going on with the Olympics in general, but specifically boxing. This might be one of the most important years in Olympic boxing history. And we're going to get to it. But before we get to everything that was going on, let's first talk about Omari Jones. Now, usually every single year, I want to remind you guys that we have not had a male U.S. Olympic gold medalist since Andre Ward of 2000. However, however, usually we have had a silver medalist, a bronze medalist, and there's usually that one U.S. boxer who kind of stands above the rest. And this year, it was Omari Jones. Now, Omari Jones, let me tell you this right now, that guy's got Top Rank written all over him because Top Rank loves those American Olympians. They love signing him and they love putting him into the mainstream media. And like Breezy has said in previous episodes, Top Rank is a great place to start your career. It might not be the place that you want to be in the prime of your career, but it's a great place to start your career because you're able to get yourself out there. You're able to be on ESPN. You're able to basically get all the eyes focused on you. And Top Rank does a good job of highlighting fighters and creating cards to make fighters known. Obviously, we've seen it with many, many fighters. Nico Ali Walsh, Abdullah Mason, Emiliano Vargas, Bruce Carrington, Keyshawn Davis. The list goes on and on, Breezy. For those who don't know too much about Amari Jones is a welterweight. He is at 147 pounds. And I do think that in the future, he has the potential to be a world champion in that welterweight division. But obviously, I don't want to hog up too much of the time talking about Amari Jones. So I'm going to pass on to Breezy. Breezy, your thoughts on Amari Jones? Basically, how he fights, like some strengths that he has, and overall, how excited are you about Amari Jones, bronze medalist in the 2024 Olympics, finally making that transition from amateur to pro?
Young, he's fast, he comes forward. He's another exciting fighter to add to the 147 division. We've had many exciting fighters over the years within the 147 division. Of course, Earl Spence Jr., Terrence Crawford, Jerome Booth Ennis. It's another fighter to add to that list of fighters. Now, look, that's not me comparing or saying that he's on the level of those guys. I'm not saying that, but he's bringing that same kind of excitement. When I watch Omari Jones clips, he's going to the body, he's coming up. Not only that too, but his movement, cutting angles off. He's very fast, and the more and more he trains, and the more he continues to get in the ring and sharpening those tools and whatnot, he's going to be a force to reckon with by the time he gets to the pros. By the time he gets in there and he started taking on those, name by name by name and studying, move up the rankings and whatnot, it's going to be really interesting to see how he does. Real skillful, fast hands, fast feet, has some nice pop on his punches and whatnot. Um, and like we already said before, I mean, now as far as him like landing fights and whatnot, starting off with top rank, you get with top rank and whatnot. That's like it'll be good for your career starting off, but longevity wise, I mean, I don't see as far as it being longevity wise. Uh, because like we always say, top rank is always the get your foot in the door type company. But long term, maybe Al Heyman, PBC and whatnot. But he's a very fast paced type guy. And look, the more and more he's gonna learn. Let him get in the right tutelage of the right coach, and that's not to say his coaches don't do a good job, but let him get some more ears in there. Let him get some more eyes in there. Let him get some more different, boxing pundits in there. Let him get some more names in there to help kind of like sharpen his tools to the way to like things that he can do, that he can bring out, that maybe he didn't know he can bring out. And I think it's gonna be really exciting to see Omari Jones in the future.
Omari Jones, he reminds me of Pernell Whitaker, the way he fights. A guy who's very defensive, a guy who's very quick, very fast, is able to jab, is able to counterpunch the way he is. And overall, I mean, I do see a lot of similarities to Pernell Whitaker. They both have somewhat of an awkward fight stance, but it works for them. And unfortunately, he didn't win the gold, but a lot of people do believe that he did beat Moidi Hajayev. Excuse me if I pronounce that wrong. In case you guys don't know who that is one of many Uzbekistani fighters who won the gold medal in the 2024 Olympics, which we'll get to pretty soon. A lot of people feel like Omari Jones beat him. They gave the decision to um, the Uzbekistani fighter Moidi Hajayev. I'm sorry if I'm pronouncing that wrong. Okay, some of these names are going to be very, very difficult to pronounce, so bear with us. But while we're on the topic, before we get to our must-see fighters, let's talk about Uzbekistan and how dominant they've been in these Olympics. I mean, I can't remember many Uzbekistani fighters. Obviously Madrimov is like the most recent one. Obviously, he's making waves. I can't believe this, dude. So many gold medalists from Uzbekistan. They dominated boxing. Uzbekistan dominated boxing. They dominated the gold medal race in boxing. And it just seems like they were the dominant country in general this year when it came to that. And I was pretty shocked because usually you have Great Britain, China's usually up there. Obviously the United States, they're never really hitting gold, but they always get like the silvers and the bronzes and everything like that. But this year it's been crazy. I mean, if you really go and look at it, dude, I mean, Uzbekistan dominated. And a very close second was China, but Uzbekistan dominated, man. And I mean, they just took over like these Olympics for boxing and they made it their own. It just seemed like every single time we were looking at the finals and looking at the fights, it just seemed like an Uzbekistani fighter was in the finals. And I'm gonna be honest with you, Breezy, I don't think one of them lost. Whichever Uzbekistani fighter was in the finals, they didn't lose. It didn't look like any of them lost. It just looked like they all just completely did what they were supposed to do. And a lot of those guys have a very bright future ahead of them. Now, since we touched up that, speaking of Uzbekistani fighters, there is one that comes to mind, and his name is Hassanboy Duzmatov. Excuse me if I pronounced that wrong. We're gonna see. This guy's gonna be a problem. But this guy, Hassanboy, look out. The reason why I'm saying look out for this guy is because Hassanboy not only won the gold medal this year, he won it in the last Olympics. And on top of that, this man is not just a two-time Olympic gold medalist. No, 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 no. This guy is a two-time Olympic gold medalist in two different divisions. I mean, look, I've heard of two-time gold medalists. Obviously, Vasily Lomachenko is one that comes to mind. But dude, this guy, I mean, that's correct me if I'm wrong, but that's gotta be a boxing record right there. I mean, to not only win a gold medal in the last Olympics, but to do it in these Olympics, and not only that, but to do it in two divisions. I mean, this guy's career, if he goes pro, dude, whoever signs him, whichever company, whichever promotion signs him, they better skyrocket him through the roof. And we see what happens when you have a very prestigious amateur boxing background. Guys like Lomachenko, guys like Madrimov were able to get title shots very quick and very early. I expect the same thing for Duzmatov. I expect the same exact thing. This guy is going to be a problem in the Olympics. And honestly, Breezy, I just want to get your thoughts on possibly. Well, first, I want to get your thoughts on Duzmatov basically becoming not only a two-time Olympic gold medalist, but to do it in two weight classes. But not only that, but how important and what type of impact do you think that he is going to have once he steps onto the pro scene?
Lomachenko effect, you know. the thing about it is when guys who are able to be as successful in the Olympics like that, they usually be it takes their career further off. Same thing with Majimov. I mean, that's why they say when you have an amateur pedigree, or you have things such as Olympic success on your background, that's why you see guys who are so quick to get a title shot with less amount of fights. Once again, look at Madrimov. Madrimov had only had about 10 fights, and within his 11th fight, he was in there with Crawford. So it helps him in the long run. Now, obviously, if anybody else wants that kind of access to get quick title shots, Jake Paul, you're going to have to maybe take that kind of route. And yes, it's a very risky, dangerous route, but some fighters are willing to go through that route and make that impact to get to the title scene. And if you want to go through the long way of doing it, it's fine. It's going to be easier if you go through. Well, not it's not going to be easy if you go through that route. It's going to be much harder. But like I always say, if you got the skills, you're gonna do it. If you don't got the skills, you might come up short, or you might succeed it. But at the same time, though, for this guy, he hit the nail twice, not once but twice. And how many fighters that could do that? So that just only shows how special and talented and gifted he is as a fighter too. And like I said, it's gonna be really interesting. It's gonna really take his career off. Don't be surprised between now and between now and next 2 years or what now, or not even the next 2 years. Just don't be surprised if you hear him with an upcoming title shot, because those guys who have the strong amateur pedigrees and those strong Olympic backgrounds, they usually get those title opportunities in no time. So it's going to really take his career. It's going to be another Lomachenko or another Madrimov story into the books. But congrats to him for succeeding twice on the Olympic success.
Say that this guy is a pro, but he's not a seasoned pro. He is 6-0 with 5 knockouts, so he's already got himself a very, very good, start to his professional career. Amateur wise, I mean, the guy, I mean, you go look at it, go look at what he's done. I mean, that just the accomplishments speak for itself in the Olympics. And I agree with you. In the next 2 years, I truly do think that he is going to be getting a shot at a world championship. Now, he is one of 5 Uzbekistani fighters who won a gold medal in these boxing Olympics. With that being said, Breezy, since I want to get a little bit off of the Uzbekistan topic, and I want to highlight some of our favorite fighters from these Olympics, and I want to start off with you. Some fighters that you feel like we should be looking out for after the Olympics. Who do you think should be one of the fighters that we should keep an eye on?
I would say Erislandy Alvarez. See, I wasn't really too familiar with the whole Cuban style of boxing until I had watched your Dennis Ugas and Earl Spence Jr. See, they always say it's something about that, you know, Cuban boxing style. It's a very fast, aggressive. It's a very calculated, but also a very precise aggression that Cuban boxers bring to fighters that makes them such special fighters. And if you like, and I know I don't want to get off topic, but just seeing like what Ugas was able to do with Manny Pacquiao, just seeing what the success he had early on with Spence, those Cuban fighters, like every every nationality of fighters have their own specific, strengths and whatnot. And I think for those Cuban boxers, they have the willpower to just press on, even when getting hit with so many shots. Okay, I saw Erislandy Alvarez getting hit with shots, but he just kept coming in fast. It's kind of like that, I'm gonna walk you down. It doesn't matter what you hit me with. It's kind of like the sense of like if you can't hurt me, if you can't knock me out, I'm gonna be in your face all day. And that seemed like that was the thing with Erislandy Alvarez. Erislandy Alvarez is a very come forward Cuban fighter. He's gonna be in your face all night. If you don't got nothing to hurt him or to push him back with, he's gonna be in your chest all night. And I give credence to Eugenio Ugas, and I can shout out to the Cuban, people out there, and shout out to the Cuban boxers. And I know Ugas is proud and whatnot because it's a great representation. And then not only that, but hearing where they've came from as far as the people and the backgrounds they done went through. So that's really all they really like relied on was boxing. And just seeing the success that they're gaining from Ugas to other fighters and to now you see in the Olympics with a guy like Arislandi Alvarez, he's gonna be a star one day. You know what I'm saying? Um, like I said, come forward type person. So coming up, y'all gonna have to watch out for Arislandi Alvarez because he ain't laying down for nothing. Okay, so one of the fighters is Arislandi Alvarez.
Agreed. That was definitely one of the guys I had highlighted as well as Landy Alvarez. I mean, he had himself a very, very good Olympics. And like you said, I mean, this guy is fast. I mean, this guy is quick. He is fast. I mean, this guy, and then on top of that, he's got that style that I can already see is going to cause a lot of trouble for a lot of world championship opponents easily. I mean, this guy don't stop. He just continues to come forward. He continues to basically push the pressure. Not only that, but he also doesn't get hit that much either. You know, I mean, I'm gonna say it right now. You said it best, Breezy. He is going to be a star. This guy is going to be, I'm gonna say this right now. Landy Alvarez has the potential to be a top 5 pound for pound fighter in the next 4 or 5 years, easily. I mean, if he continues with this, I mean, forget about it, man. And like we said with Top Rank takes a lot of the American guys. However, DAZN takes a lot of the international guys, the gold medalists, the guys like Andy Cruz, the guys like Anthony Joshua. You know, those are the guys that they end up taking basically. And I do see Erzlandi Alvarez being on DAZN in the near future, being a matchroom boxing prospect, a matchroom boxing fighter. And I see Erzlandi Alvarez just being a dog. Now, with that being said, there is another. I want to mention one of my fighters. There's a fighter. Her name is Lee Chan or Lee Chan, excuse me, and she had herself a very good Olympics as well. Excuse me, I'm gonna get to my notes because I want to talk about her real quick. But but Lee Chan, she. This is what's interesting about her, and this is why I want to talk about her. She is a woman's middleweight. She has an Olympic gold medal, an Olympic silver medal, and an Olympic bronze medal. How rare is that? Now, here's the problem with a lot of those fighters. A lot of those fighters who have 2 or 3 medals, a lot of them have been the amateurs for a long time. A lot of them already have put some miles onto their boxing career. But I got a good feeling about her. You see, because women's middleweight boxing, if you ask me, it's dominated by Clarissa Shields. However, Clarissa Shields doesn't look like she's slowing down. As a matter of fact, she looks like she's getting stronger. Now, I do want to say that when it comes to China, China dominated the Olympic boxing this year in terms of the women boxers. The women boxers did a very, very good job. So we got to give China a big shout out for that. The Uzbekistanian guys, they had all the men. The Chinese, they had all the women. So I got to give those two countries a lot of respect. But I could definitely see her being one of the top faces of women's boxing in the future, especially if she decides to go pro. Now, there's going to be some fighters who are not going to go pro. For instance, Kelly Harrington is the one that hurts me the most because Kelly Harrington is a 2-time Olympic gold medalist. She did what Katie Taylor couldn't do, which is win 2 gold medals. And on top of that, if she went pro, it would have further pushed her career. But Kelly Harrington announced that she is going to retire from the sport of boxing after winning 2 Olympic gold medals. And I want to get your thoughts on that, Breezy. You know, I want to get your thoughts on Kelly Harrington retiring after being an Irish woman who won 2 Olympic gold medals and could have been blasted onto women's boxing like Katie Taylor has. I want to get your opinions on her deciding to retire instead of hitting pro.
Thing goes like, you know, we don't necessarily know what's quote unquote accomplished for a person unless they feel like it's accomplished enough for them. We saw Manny Pacquiao, somebody that's an 8 division world champion who wanted to come back to the Olympics, who wanted to come back and basically spar the young and up. That's why I would look at it as sparring, even though it's gonna be boxing for real. but basically spar on them kids. He feel like he hasn't done enough. This lady right here felt like she has done enough. And that's the thing about it is, though, in this sport, you know, we've seen times in boxing where people may have like 4 fights, 10 fights. Look, this is a grueling sport. Okay. I will never be the one to be like, oh, you haven't done enough for this sport. You can get in that ring and get hit in the face one time. If you feel like that what you done was enough, who am I to argue with you? I'm not going to tell you that you need to go get back in the ring and do more and get punched in the face more for you to feel accomplished. You want one world champion, that's fine. And of course, you got guys like Terrence Crawford, 4 division champion. Then you got Clarissa Shields. Then you have Manny Pacquiao. Then you have this young lady who's won it back to back. Maybe that's just her dreams. Everybody's goal and mindset and dreams are set up differently from others. So for somebody wants to be an undisputed champion one day. Somebody wants to be a 3 division, two division champion. This young lady, she felt like, well, hey, I wanted to overcome the Olympics not once but twice, and she did that. She felt like that's enough. If she personally feel like that's enough, and look, who knows if she might change her mind down the future? Because boxing is one of those sports where you can try to run away from it, but it's almost nearly hard to, because a lot of people is just so in love with the game and the sweet science of it. It's just kind of hard for people to run away from that sport. And not only that too, but the sport does keep people out of trouble. It does keep people on the straight and narrow path too. Well, at least some people. But I mean, who am I to argue that she doesn't feel like she's done enough? If she feel like that, and that's enough. I mean, kudos, congrats to her, but anything can happen. She may come back a year later and be like, you know what? I want to go pro.
Me, I feel like this is the end of it. I don't think she'll come back. She's going to basically retire. She's got a wife, so she's gonna go spend time with her wife, and they're gonna live their lives. But I mean, amateur record wise, I mean, she's done it all. 101 wins, 17 losses, one draw, and she beat Ferreira of Brazil, which the reason why that's very important is because, well, Ferreira took out one of the US boxers, so thanks for that. But not only that, but because Kelly Harrington and her fought, and she won, and Kelly Harrington won the rematch in the finals of the Olympics. So I think that's a great way to, cap off your career and call it quits. You know what I'm saying? I mean, she's done a lot. She is a two-time Olympic gold medalist, and that's huge for Ireland because that's something that Katie Taylor could not accomplish. The great Katie Taylor could not accomplish that. She did what Katie Taylor couldn't. And overall, to me, man, that speaks volumes. If somebody as great as Katie Taylor couldn't win back-to-back gold medals, and she could, that speaks measures to what kind of fighter she was. And obviously, we respect the decision for her to retire, but another part of me could only wonder what could have been if she decided to go pro. I mean, dude, I think they would have pushed her to the stratosphere if she went pro easily. I think she would have been one of those top, like I talked about Chan being a top women boxer, but she would have been one of the faces of women boxing if she went pro. But overall, I do see her being a Hall of Famer one day in boxing. I do see her being a big inspiration as she already is to the country of Ireland. And it would have been nice to see two Irish, women boxers make their mark on the sport. But obviously, she decided to retire. She decided to spend the rest of her life with her wife and live their lives. Now, that's all the positive stuff for the 2024 Olympics, Breezy. Let's get to the negative. The biggest we be sugarcoating it, we're not gonna avoid it. The biggest controversy in Olympic boxing has been the whole transgender issue. Has been Aman Khalif from Algeria, and it has been, I believe her name is Yin Ting from the Chinese, one of the Chinese countries. Not China, it's a different name. I'm not gonna go and explain all that, but here's where it gets very iffy. Okay, I want to start with Aman Khalif. Aman Khalif is the biggest one, the one everybody's talking about. How this is a woman transferring from a man to a woman and is fighting women boxers. However, the story has been fabricated a lot. Now, here's where it gets a bit difficult. I guess she has this disorder or this, I don't know what to call it, but basically she is a girl. There's there's photos of her as a child, and it's clear that she is a girl, but she has an extra XY chromosome, which means her levels of testosterone has heightened and she has some biological male factors. It's been a whole argument, it's been a whole debate in boxing, it's been a whole debate between the fans on whether or not she should be allowed to participate in these Olympics or not. And she won a gold medal. I mean, Amain won a gold medal. Let's state that right now. Here's where it's going to get very, very difficult, okay? The IBA used to be in charge of amateur boxing. They decided to give up the whole amateur ruling to the IOC. Now, here's why that's a problem. Because Khalif was not allowed to box in the World Championships, and that was under IBA. When the IOC took over, they allowed men transition into women to go fight women in boxing. And that's how this whole debacle started. Because if this was the IBA when it happened, because she failed gender test. And so I want to get your thoughts, Breezy, on Amain Khalif. What's your thoughts on that one? Because that's the most difficult one. What's your thoughts on Amain Khalif fighting in the Olympics? Do you feel like because of that situation, excuse me, do you feel like because of that situation, she should be able to compete in the Olympics? Or do you feel like regardless, she should have been banned to begin with, just like she was in the World Championships?
Um, it is very touchy. But look, this how I see it, right? If if she was biologically a one, there was like no indications or signs where like this was like a man turning into like trying to transition. Like if she like it's on record that she was a woman. I mean, if she's a woman, then you can't ban her then. Now it's crazy because of the extra chromosome and all the testosterone and all the features and whatnot, you know. And look, I'm gonna be real, and I don't want nobody getting offended, but I see women out here with mustache, hair all over they. It is a condition. It is a condition out here that some women have to where they do have more facial hair and more hair on their body than a man. It's a real thing. Don't ask me how I know. Just know I've seen it before. It is a real thing. Now, but I wouldn't say that she should get banned, but 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 although I do believe that that she should be allowed to do it because if it says she's a woman, then you really can't like that's a whole completely different thing. That's just a woman with a condition. But what I will say is this, because that rule is set up like that, you're gonna have guys that's gonna throw on a wig on some Joanna Man stuff and try to hop in that ring with some girls and start trying to hit them upside the head. That is not no, that's different. That we're not going for that. That's something I'm not for. I'm not for a man getting in the ring with a woman. That's a woman, but she's just a woman that just happens to have, you know, testosterone and kind of like of a physical male empowerment to an extent. But that is much much different from somebody like a grown man. Like what? I've been getting beat up all my life. I've been getting beat up by other grown men. So let me throw a wig on and be Joanna Man 2.0 and go beat up these women to go make an easy medal or an easy title. So I think you gotta kind of blur the lines a little bit. With her situation, that's something she really can't control. You know for sure if a damn grown man is trying to get in the ring with some girls and punch her, it would kind of be a little bit too. It's obscure, but you'll be able to point it out. But I do think this is really different from a man just trying to get in the ring with a girl. I think it's more so of an actual woman that just happen to have a condition that's just unfortunate. But I do think that she should be allowed to box, and I do think they're going to have to kind of like set up specific rules. You're going to have to like fully prove like with paperwork that you have a condition. If not, you are a man. That's how I'm gonna look at it. Unless there's like paperwork proof or any kind of side work proof that you have that condition and that you are a biological woman, that's different. But to me, it just looks like an open case to where guys can try to do that. But Nah, I think it's a woman just having that condition, but unfortunately, it does open up situations for dudes trying to come in and do that though.
I have to go on the disagree side. I'm gonna say I don't think she should have been allowed. And the reason why I say that is because, first of all, I want to say this for everybody who's dogging Khalif on social media and is basically, online bullying. You guys got to stop that. You got to stop it, okay? Because again, there is proof that she was born a female. There is proof. You can see there's pictures of her as a child, probably like 8, 9 years old, and she's clearly a girl. The reason why I disagree with that is because biologically, that gives her an advantage over women. Biologically, that's an advantage. And to me, I don't think that she should be able to compete because of that biological difference. If I had a biological disability that improved some of my abilities to go play a certain sport, then you got to look at it and realize like it's a clear competitive advantage. And it's something that she can't control, and it's sad. This is why this is such a touchy and a very iffy topic. This is a topic that has been argued, Breezy, on social media back and forth. It's literally the most 50-50 topic I've seen ever since this information came out. You got something to add?
When I go look at this episode when it get posted, I don't want to see nobody in the comments trying to argue or go at me and Mario's opinions and beliefs on this. Argue with your damn mama, all right? We just said this is a touchy subject, all right? We both kind of in like stuck between which side. So I don't wanna go to the comment section after this video gets posted and y'all trying to argue with me and Mario's points and beliefs. Argue with your damn mama.
But if you disagree with us, that's cool. But we don't want to hear no, what is wrong with you? You must be out your dang mind. You're stupid. You're a casual. We don't want to hear all that, okay? We want to hear your opinions and we want to hear in a respectable manner, okay? Because this is a very, very 50-50 topic. Now, somebody's going to be like, it's not 50-50. She's a man. Or somebody's going to be like, it's not 50-50. She's a woman. We're going to hear all that. But at the same time, this has been argued back and forth. Now, what I don't agree with is first, before I do say this, I want to say that I disagree. I think biologically it gives her an advantage, and that is the reason why. I'm not saying she is a man. I'm saying that's the reason why. Biologically, it gives her an advantage, and I don't think that that advantage is safe for a sport like boxing. Now, as for Lin Yu Ting, who is biologically a man who transitioned to a woman and is fighting women boxers, nah, I'm sorry. You got like if that was me, revoke that gold medal because she won a gold medal too. Or I'm sorry, you got to revoke that. Like that is unacceptable. That is all on the IOC, and that is the biggest problem because the IBA would have never allowed that. With Khalif, it's a really complicated. It's in case you guys don't know, the disorder is called DSD, difference in sex, something like that. It's difference in I can't remember what it stood for, but it's called DSD. With Lin Yu Ting, this is literally a biological man who turned into a woman fighting women boxers. I'm sorry, Breezy, I can't let that slide. I can't let that slide, man. You know that is wrong. And there's a picture you can literally see her Adam's apple. Like that's crazy to me. Again, Khalif, that's a very debatable topic. This, I'm sorry, it's not. Even look, I'm sure we got some non-binary transgender viewers, and to them, we appreciate your support. You know what I'm saying? This is not trashing them. This is not dogging them. But what I will say is, if you are a man turning into a woman fighting women boxers, that is a big problem. That is a big problem. Breezy can't turn into a woman and fight Amanda Nunes. I can't turn into a woman and fight Katie Taylor. I can't do that. I'm sorry, but I don't agree with that, man. Now, if you got any final thoughts on that specific topic in itself that you want to talk about, then let's hear them.
I don't, and it's all about it's a difference in the world. See, back then there was a time where it was like you would have got checked even just putting a man and a woman in the same sentence as competitive sports. But now it's just kind of like it's like the norm. This is how you know the world is constantly changing. I don't care what nobody say. There is no damn way I should be seeing your Adam's apple And then people gonna look at me and tell me, "Oh no, that's no. You are a certain not matter with all the 2024 standards, the new rules, the but I said no, 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 no. And this is why I told people I had a problem with when Clarissa Shields kept trying to clamor and get in the ring with a man. I don't care about all that. Equal right, equal lefts, equal upper, because I don't give a damn. Stop saying that stupid stuff. No man and no woman should be in the ring boxing each other. I don't care. I'm tired of hearing people trying to make arguments and points for it. Enough is enough. How many examples do we need to see before people get the idea that women box women? You women MMA fighters, you fight women MMA fighters. You men box MMA boxers. Men MMA fighters fight MMA men fighters. Like, why is this even a conversation? It just shouldn't even be a conversation. But the fact we gotta have this conversation over and over and over and over and over again in 2024, now people like, oh my God, you can see the Adam's apple, but how many times we gotta say that the man and the woman shouldn't be fighting in the first damn place? I mean, how many times we gotta say it? So, like I said, I'm obviously not for it. And I think the people who are allowing this, they need to be punished because I don't care what nobody says. That's not right. That is just not right. Okay. Enough with the equal right, equal lefts, equal uppercuts, equal jabs. I don't care about all that equal. Go back to math class for all that equal shit. All right. All that works outside in a different perspective in a different time. When it comes to this boxing stuff, man to man, woman to woman. It's disgusting. I'm sick and tired of seeing and hearing about this. Y'all already know what time I'm on with this. It needs to stop. But like I said, they whoever allowed that, they need to be punished. And personally, that person need they medal or whatever took away. I'm sorry. That's we can't be allowing men to just go up in there and beat up on women like that. We can't allow that.
And in sports in itself, I think that's a big issue right now. In sports in itself, we got men competing against women in almost anything, swimming, um, soccer, overall. I mean, track. There's been many past examples of that type of stuff, and there's been a lot of people advocating against that. The way I look at it, again, this is my final thoughts. Me, I was born with a disability. Because, again, I'm not going to get too personal on here, but I was born with a disability. And a lot of y'all, the first dream I ever had as a kid was to be a boxer. But because of my disability, I couldn't do it. And the reason why, because it was a mental disability. So I didn't want to get the wrong hit, and all of a sudden things can change. So unfortunately, I couldn't box. When it comes to Khalif, the reason why I disagree so much is because what happened to her, that is a biological factor. And it's a biological factor that is basically an advantage in a women's boxing sport. I mean, you have male qualities and you have biological male factors that can give you an advantage in fighting women. And I'm not saying women are weak or anything like that. No, I guarantee you, if I step into the ring with Clarissa Shields, she could probably whoop my ass. I'm not gonna say she can't. If I step into the ring with Kitty Taylor, she could probably whoop my ass. But I can't go into a ring with an amateur woman boxer, fighter, beat her up, and then say, "Hey guys, I did something." I wouldn't even want that gold medal to begin with. Toss it away. With Khalif, it's a very debatable topic. With Yu Ting, absolutely not. I'm sorry, but there is not a single thing that you can justify for that. Even if you are a non-binary person, even if you are a transgender person, the only thing I ask is really go and look at that. A biological man transitioning to a woman fighting women fighters. If your little sister or younger sister was a boxer and she had to go fight a biological man, what would you say? Like, let's be real. You would probably want to fight him your dang self. I mean, let's be honest. Like, it shouldn't be allowed. And Breezy was like, whoever's in charge of that needs to be held accountable. That's the IOC. Because that would never happen if it was the IBA controlling this. And you know how I know that? Because the IBA had gender rules and they had gender laws, and you had to pass a gender test, which Khalif didn't do, and Yu Ting definitely didn't do. So I'm sorry, but IOC. bring amateur boxing back to IBA because they were handling it just fine. Speaking of, I'm gonna let you. I know you got some more thoughts. Continue.
Go ahead and say it like this, and I ain't trying to hold up too much time. I do want to let my brother Mario finish off his point. But ever since the beginning of how, and this may be controversial, I don't care. Y'all know how I am. But ever since the intro to the Olympics, how it's begun, I'm just saying, I'm not surprised that a lot of the stuff we're seeing is going on with the Olympics, especially with the opening and intro that they had. I'm just saying, you got to put two and two together, you know. So we kind of already knew it was going to kind of be one of those type of things, just off of how they introduced the Olympics with the whole. Y'all know what I'm talking about. Y'all not stupid. Y'all have brains. Y'all know what I'm talking about. Just put two and two together. So we kind of already knew it was going to be some kind of out there.
It's a very common issue in sports today. What was a very shocking issue that I found out, and y'all really need to go take a look at this. So far, the games for 2028, take a guess of what sport is not in it. Boxing. Boxing as of right now is not going to be in the Olympics in 2028. Now, we got 4 years. It's 4 years. So guys whose dream it is to win an Olympic gold medal, Jake Paul, you might not be able to accomplish that dream because boxing might not be in the 2028 Olympics. They still got 4 years. I want to let you guys know that 4 years to put boxing into the 2028 Olympics. However, as of right now, if this were to stay in the next 4 years, it's devastating for boxing because we got a lot of amateur boxers who dream of becoming Olympic gold medalists. See, for basketball, we know Team USA is going to dominate. For track, you got professional track athletes who compete in the Olympics, and that's considered, their mountaintop. For gymnastics, it's the same thing. Olympic boxing, I believe, is one of the most important sports for amateur sport, is one of the most important, um, what's the word I'm looking for? Boxing, Olympic boxing is one of the most important platforms for amateur sports because the Olympics is like your final amateur stage to becoming a pro. Usually you go to the Olympics, you get your medal, and then you move on. Some people stay a little bit. I understand that. But you win your medal, you move on. And when you win a medal, that does a lot of great things for your career. A lot of Olympic gold medalists, if we really go back and look at them, a lot of them have insanely great careers now. So being a medalist is very, very important. It helps your branding, it helps your image, it helps you get your foot into the door. So because Olympic boxing might not be a part of the 2024 Olympics, now we got a lot of amateurs wondering, well, how am I going to get to that level? And it's a very sad thing for amateur boxing because the Olympics are that important when it comes to amateur boxing. And again, you know who I blame this on? The IOC, because the IOC decided to add all this controversial stuff. We got two Olympic gold medalists who one's a clear man or was a clear biological man transitioned to a woman, and the other one, it's a more debatable topic. But because of these controversial issues, I believe this is a big, big reason why Olympic boxing might be done for. And Olympic boxing, let me tell you guys something. Do you know Olympic boxing has been around for over hundreds of years? It's been over 120 years for Olympic boxing. And now we're just going to kiss it goodbye because of this controversial crap. I'm sorry, but you know what should happen? Don't get rid of Olympic boxing. What you should do is the IOC should be like, we really effed up. Give it back to the IBA. They're not going to admit that because the IOC, hey, ready? Y'all want to hear something crazy? The IOC is defending the trans athletes. If they defend Khalif, I get that. Again, very debatable topic. How are you gonna defend Yu Ting? How are you gonna defend her? There's just no. I'm sorry, but you can't do it. It's impossible to defend something like that. But they're doing it because I truly believe that either A, the IOC is very like they're adamant on that topic that transgender women should be fighting real women, or they know they effed up and they don't want to admit it. I, IOC, do us a favor. Give all the authority back to the IBA. Amateur boxing was just fine when the IBA was in charge of it. Give it back to them. That's my thoughts on that. Don't get rid of Olympic boxing. It's way too important. It's way too important to an amateur boxer's life. It's literally the start of their illustrious career. Don't let it go. Instead, just realize you messed up, give it to the IBA, and let them handle it. Breezy, any thoughts?
I mean, but like I already said too, like just with the way how they opened up the whole Olympic serum, like just like how they opened up everything all the way, it was. I'm just saying, it was just kind of like a clear indicator of like, you know. But I'm still trying to figure out like what did all of that had to do with sports? Like, are y'all trying to say that now y'all trying to incorporate a certain kind of sexuality into sports? Are y'all trying to say that, hey, we're going to pair this up with that? And if that's the case, then that's the wrong kind of image you want to put out there. Because now it's going to be a constant situation coming up each and every single time. And then you gotta understand there's men out here who can't compete with other men. And because they can't compete with other men, they go to the hair store, grab themselves a wig, slap that hoe on, then they run to y'all and then swear up and down at a woman, get in the ring with a woman and beat up a woman, be like, hey mom, I finally accomplished something, beating up a woman. That's nothing to be proud about. And look, y'all can go on all night, all day in the chat y'all want to, but that's just nothing to be proud about. To me, at the end of the day, that's a man in there with a woman. There's no other way I can look at it. That's a grown man in there with a grown woman, and this kind of stuff needs to be put to an end because it's going. I wish the hell I would hear a fight about a grown man about to fight Alicia Baumgartner, a grown man about to fight Amanda Serrano. I'm flipping every single pillow over in this damn room. I don't want to hear it. I don't want to see it. This needs to stop. It needs to end.
If y'all are gonna attack Breezy, I want y'all to know that he's for a main Khalif fighting. Because that's a different scenario. That's a different situation. Regardless of whether you agree with it or not, that's that's the truth. Now, some people are gonna say that what she has is not real, it's just something to justify her going in there and fighting men or women, excuse me. But it's a very, very debatable topic. That's a very debatable topic. And every single time I go on social media and I see that name and I go look at the comments, it's always the comments are so 50-50. It's so 50-50, but I'm not again, Breezy is all for is, you know, approves of that. But what we don't approve of is a legit biological man turning into a woman fighting other women. That's unacceptable. So you Ting, strip that medal. Khalif, I really want to hear y'all opinions in a respectable manner. I want to repeat that because some of y'all be going crazy in the comments. I really want to hear your opinions on the main Khalif. That's the big one right there. So please type them in the comments. I really want to hear what y'all think about that. And we're gonna make sure we label these sections in the video so y'all know where to go to. Trust me, this is a very rare, a very special episode of The Puncher's Point. We always tell you guys don't miss out on our episodes. Definitely do not miss out on this one because the next time you're going to get an episode about this is in the next 4 years when we talk about it again. And hopefully, the next time we talk about it, Olympic boxing is still a sport. We don't have any transgender males fighting women or transgender females fighting men because I don't agree with that either. Hopefully, we have we can discuss Olympic boxing in a normal manner. But this episode, Breezy, is far from normal. Let's be honest. So, with that being said, appreciate y'all for tuning in to this special Olympic boxing episode of The Puncher's Point. We hope that we can do this again in the next 4 years. Only time will tell. But overall, we really want to hear your comments, about not just the whole transgender issue, not just about the Olympics possibly being taken away for boxing, but also on people like Omari Jones, on Uzbekistan and China having a dominant Olympics, on maybe there's some fighters in these Olympics that y'all want us to see. So please, anything regarding Olympic boxing, maybe even some of the issues aside from boxing that Breezy talked about with the opening ceremony, regardless of what it was, we want you guys to keep the comments respectable professional, and we would love to hear your opinions on this. And with that being said, y'all know what the deal is. We're gonna say it one more time. Make sure y'all tune into and stay on point with the Puncher's Point.